Let's begin the meeting of the 30th of July, where we're looking at the adoption of the representation proposal. First, we have apologies from Councillor Griffiths and Councillor Holdness. I'm happy to move. We have a second. Councillor Bentley, all those in favour say aye. No, carried. We have the declarations of interest. If there are any changes, please see the governance. And then we have public forum. We have one member of the public who wishes to speak. Welcome.
Stan?
Yep.
Kia ora tātou. I just wanted to say hi. I missed out on a recent presentation I was going to make to you, but I just wanted to I've read through the papers and I just wanted to say well done on what I think is quite a good consolation, I guess, around the Māori ward. Then having 9+1, I think that's a nice way, because I was starting to wonder how you might be able to do it when we don't have wards, but everybody at large and having a general ward and a Māori ward, I really do like that idea. And I like that that's what's going out to the public for consultation. What I just wanted to say, though, in saying that, is that I would be really incredibly disappointed if I heard that there was a decision made today to go back on the Māori ward representation. I think that you would just need to see the response that came from iwi and others.
That's not on the agenda today.
Pardon?
That is not on the agenda today.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Right, I thought it was. I was reading through the papers.
No, about taking it, not addressing whether we have married women. That's not part of the agenda today.
No, I know. But there is an option to have a consideration about what happens with that Māori ward, right? Given that there's
once the legislation is in the house. Yeah.
Through the house, yeah. So that's what I was just saying. Just that it would be really good if we could just keep the Māori ward as it is, and if you have to do what the government says at the next election, then do so. That I wouldn't rescind that decision. That's what I'm asking. Is because the iwi are in complete support of it. You could tell from the story in November and in the paper, and the spokesperson for our local iwi saying so. So basically that is just really what I wanted to say today. Well done on the option that you're going out to the public with.
Thank you. Any questions? No? Thank you. We now, there is an addition. So what we'll do is we'll just give you an opportunity to have a look at that before we move on with the meeting. You've all got extra copies? Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry, you were, but could I ask how long are you giving us to read?
5 minutes. 10 minutes if we need to.
Any marks?
This has a look at changes.
Okay, so we will continue now. This is what you'll see because of the legislation going into the House today, is it? Yeah. Moment. So there are some opportunities which we might address, but I'll get started.
Thank you, Bishop. I'd just like to introduce Gavin Beattie.
Gavin, yes.
Who's online again
Welcome.
for us today. He's here to answer any highly technical questions. The situation is a little difficult. We were hoping that this legislation would be enacted before the meeting, and it isn't going to be. So it is likely to receive royal assent and come into effect tomorrow, which is not ideal for us trying to make a decision on a representative review at this time. So we have laid out in this update the options that are available to the council now, and the amendment, the attachment details out the latest changes that have been set up. So these are track changes in there. They're not our track changes in the attachment, the second attachment. They are the government's proposed track changes. That is effectively leading to an additional decision needing to be made. We've put in this update a potential resolution that you could make that additional decision under, but that needs that legislation to be enacted before you can make that additional decision. So you are required under that amended legislation to actually make an active decision to either retain or rescind that Maori ward decision that was made earlier. So you can't just go ahead and make the decisions we recommended in the report, the earlier report, because it doesn't specifically state a move on that Maori ward decision. It would be a default move, but it's not specifically stated. But unfortunately, you can't specifically state until you have the legislation to do so. So it does leave us in a slightly odd position today, where you can make a decision and then you need to make a subsequent decision, or your alternative is to defer making it this time.
Any questions, Councillor Carson?
Yeah, so in the attachment to in the bill under clause 39, it says local authority resolving to retain the firm resolution of the established Maori wards or Maori constituencies must conduct a binding poll in 2025. But on the page that says amendments to the local electoral act related to Maori wards, attachment 2 down the very bottom, there's a proposed amendment to blah, blah, blah. Ensure that if the council resolves to hold a binding poll, it is required to do so by 28th of March 2027. So how does that relate to the 225 elections?
It's a good question. Just take me to the clause the 39AA is the clause you're reading in the second part.
In the second part, it's 39, just local 39, says local authority, and then read resolving to retain resolution to establish Maori wards must conduct a binding poll in 225. But then that last paragraph talks about a binding poll required to do so, make a decision required to do so by the 28th of March 27, which implies that we're talking about the 28th elections. So which is which? Is it the 25 a poll or is it the 28th?
I'm trying to find the 27 reference.
So if you go
Down
to the
the bottom.
very first amendment to the Local Government Act, so after your table,
Sorry,
It's in the
before
last
we get into
paragraph,
track
yeah.
changes.
it's in the last paragraph.
Explanation page.
Yes.
They seem to contradict each other.
I agree, they do appear to do that. Both of these bits of wording came from the Electoral Act amendments. That inconsistency is something that will be in that discussion before the House
So I
right now.
can't make a decision today because we don't know what it means.
We are very clear in our understanding that we are talking about a poll at the 2025 elections.
Yeah.
But the difficulty with making a decision today, but it is available to you, you can make a decision today under the existing legislation, not including these amendments that are attached. but you can't make a decision yet on those amendments that are attached.
So regardless of what happens,
Got a catch pretty.
we'll have to,
It's a difficult.
it'll have to be readjusted at the next council meeting anyhow, correct? Yeah, so.
Yes, hopefully it'll get clarified and the
Yeah.
rules gone through.
Councillor Bentley?
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. What are the consequences of doing this?
That is a complex question as well, through
Yes.
Worship. The issue is, and it might be good for Gavin to answer here, but we anticipate and we expect that the legislation will be enacted tomorrow prior to on the date that council needs to make an initial proposal. So it then sets out new timeframes
Right.
in that attachment. So the theory is we would not have any legal non-compliance because the new legislation would be in place. That does rely on the new legislation being in place, and it's not yet. So there is a risk of legal non-compliance, a small risk of legal non-compliance if we declare the decision. But given the uncertainty around the legislative situation, that risk is pretty low that somebody might review
Okay, is there any other questions? So the option for us is either option 1 or 2, but I suggest that we go for option 2 and we just defer this anything till next week.
I would support that, Your Worship, absolutely.
Everybody comfortable with that? So we'll put that to the vote that we go.
That's right in my speech, I was going to say that.
That's it. Is it that we defer? Do you want to, have you got it?
Yeah.
We defer the decision until August the 7th, which is the next council meeting next week. So we'll put that up.
Happy to second, Your Worship.
I want that.
Receive the report, title adoption, initial representation, receive and note the tabled update, notes the impending enactment of the local electoral act amendment 31st of July and defer the decision for initial representation proposal until council meeting scheduled for the 7th of August, next Wednesday. Happy to move it. We have a secondary, Councillor Carson. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
The contrary no. Been carried. And with that, we close the meeting. Thank you. Well done.